So yeah, a little fun little message to all of you today, my friends, and that is for anyone in a relationship or having a relationship with any other human being in general, that whatever we call another, any type of label or big strong heavy story in our head that we're describing them as or painting them as, whatever word or judgments we call another, look to see how you are that too. For example, if you call them, let's say, selfish or unkind or uncaring or egotistical, living in their ego, if you say they're short-sighted or a drug addict or an addict or consumed with shallow material, or whatever way you want to describe it, look to see how you or we are also, because whatever we call another, we are too. And our higher self doesn't call anyone any names. Sure, higher self may see things clearly, and that's what the higher self does. On a higher frequency, from a higher frequency, we do see things clearer and better, and from a bigger perspective, and from truer perspective. But as we go down in frequency, so to speak, and we're more in our hurt or in our ego, we will naturally blame and call other people negative descriptive words, names, or even insults. But look, the more important thing to do in terms of self-awareness and self-healing is to look at ourselves. Switching hands. Here we are, step 2. Battery energy went out and back again. So in our journey of self-awareness and self-healing, it's important to look at ourselves and where we are being what we call another. And in that way we can see how they aren't just this baddie who's wrong, and that we are also just a baddie and wrong sometimes too. And we're not in a position to cast judgment, but actually we're in a position to cast compassion on both of us. And that's not to bypass either their or our behavior that's sometimes negative, but to have a greater understanding and perspective with compassion, so we can change and to become more of our higher self, whilst also having compassion and a certain understanding and sometimes a certain patience with them too. And this helps us enormously in our healing and our growth. Like sometimes when I'm triggered and past traumas come up for me, or my ego gets too heavily involved, my hurt, my pain gets involved, sometimes I can be mean, cruel, bulliesome, even confrontational, aggressive. And in some ways, when I'm not in my right place on occasion, even though it's not my true self, and other people aren't a true self and they're like this too, I can be all of these ways and more and worse. Sometimes I'm worse, sometimes I'm better, and sometimes others are worse and sometimes better. But when we try and, one thing I've learned in my life is when I cast judgment, it's as if I'm putting myself in a place of superiority and they're inferior. When I cast judgment on another, it's like I almost give myself an excuse to treat them badly, and I'm excused because they're bad and wrong and I'm judging them to be so, and then suddenly I have an exemption card to act whatever way I want, which is not right and not true. And acting bad second is not an excuse just because someone's acting bad first. That's what I experience in my own life with me, and sometimes I'm the first one as well. So it's not like I'm morally superior to anybody, and in the past I used to think so, but that's a mistake I was making, and now I'm learning and sharing with you so you understand too, and maybe you won't make the same mistake, so to speak, or learn smoother and faster, let's put it that way, because nothing's truly a mistake in my opinion, but it's all a learning experience. And even an addict or a drug addict, like I am those things. I'm addicted or attached or obsessed, maybe, at least attached, and addicted, or find it hard to sometimes give up things, or I have coping mechanisms just like everybody else, and I'm not here to judge anybody, so I'm almost everything and anything that I could potentially call another person to be. And once I realised I snapped out of this illusion and how it's just my own ego and pain body trying to create a difference where I'm better and they're worse and act like the victim and be disempowered that way, once I'm realising this more and more and more and more, it's extremely beneficial and helps us raise our frequency, consciousness and vibration. And that's what it's all about.